Invasive pain treatments that require little downtime. Most PPO insurance plans cover treatment and they verify your benefits free. Call 1-800-WESTMED today for your free consultation.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Major props to the San Antonio Spurs for rising up against all the noise in New York City about the Knicks. The Spurs tuned out the electric atmosphere Monday night in Madison Square Garden and pulled off a stunning 115-111 win over the Knicks in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. First loss for the Knicks in this year's playoffs since April 23rd. The Knicks had won 13 straight playoff games. With a 2-0 lead in the best of 7 and with Game 3 at home, Knicks fans were expecting a 14th straight playoff win. Spurs star Victor Wembanyama dismissed the hype and delivered a 5-star performance in the first NBA Finals game in New York since 1999. The 22-year-old Wembanyama hurt the Knicks with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Wembanyama helped the Spurs avoid going down 0-3 to the Knicks. There will be a Game 5 in San Antonio on Saturday. Game 4 is Wednesday night in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr. $2.5 billion. Governor Gavin Newsom said it was there for fire survivors in Altadena and the Palisades. No strings attached. That was the promise. But the burning question is, where's it at? 18 months later, an NBC4 investigation came back with the numbers. The numbers don't answer the question, they deepen it. Where's it at? About $605 million has been spent, roughly 75% still not released. Where's it at? Roughly $14 million went to CHP overtime and ICE immigration protest response for crowd control. Not rebuilding homes, not rebuilding lives, but crowd control. Where's it at? Another $13 million went to the state health department for video campaigns while fire survivors waited. While families in Altadena are still trying to put their lives back together, still trying to get housed, this is the hope gap and it's real. Where's it at? Southern California Edison is still in court, still fighting liability tied to the Eden fire, still not accountable. Where's it at? 18 months later, Governor Newsom, where's it at? Because the truth is free, but the lie can be very expensive. And right now, fire survivors want to know what happened to no strings attached. And I've been saying on this mic for the past 18 months, somebody or somebodies didn't do their job. Now it's documented. Governor Newsom, listen closely. You didn't do your job. You didn't keep your promise. You held up the bill. Now stop holding up the money. You said no strings attached. Instead, you played on the people's heartstrings. Where's it at? See, Governor Newsom, even at the French Laundry, if it don't come out in the wash, it's sure enough gonna come out in the rinse, and the rinse cycle is here. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA, Talk 1580, download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson. Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Tenacious Tuesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And in this hour, we are going to talk about Black women. We're going to talk about the fact that oftentimes they are the last hired and the first fired. But make no mistake about it, they are clearly, in every American generation, simply the most qualified to do anything that they choose to do. And this society has worked desperately to hold them back. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Tenacious Tuesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest in this hour is Yvonne Renee Davis, a seasoned entrepreneur and accomplished executive currently serving as the founder and CEO of her own company. Her company, Davis Intelligence, a global consultancy firm with an extensive background in international affairs. She brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to her role. Prior to establishing her own company, Yvonne held various leadership roles in multinational corporations where she honed her skills in strategic planning, business development, and corporate governance. Her expertise extends to areas such as public diplomacy, risk analysis, and international relations. As an influential leader, Yvonne is committed to delivering strategic solutions to her clients, helping them navigate complex business landscapes and achieve their goals. She's known for her visionary leadership, strategic mindset, and commitment to excellence. Yvonne, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
It's my honor. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Yvonne, I'm so grateful that you're here, and I can't think of anyone more qualified or more capable of addressing the subject matter that is directly in front of us today. I know that in the past, you have done some work with the United States government. I'd like you to share with our listeners that experience, and then compare that experience to what's taking place, and indeed, many of the great mountains that Black women and women of color generally have to mount and surmount in your spheres of influence. Yvonne, again, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm in my 30th year in business and 35th year in media. And I was a former appointee of President George W. Bush. And I had the opportunity to work within two of his administrations and for the U.S. Department of State as a contractor promoting public diplomacy. But I got to run the gamut to work on small business, African-American, women's issues, housing, trade. My company was the company selected to handle and lead the business delegation to realize the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act in 2001. And so that allowed me the exposure to go to 6 African nations in 8 days. And then 3 weeks later, 9/11 happened. And then with my contracting work, I was sent to 19 Muslim and Arab countries around the world, mirroring what the public diplomacy and the viewpoint of America was during, before and after the Arab Revolution. And so my opportunity to work in government led also to, with the State Department under President Obama's 2 terms, and also President Trump's first term virtually in COVID. So from a bipartisan perspective, I was able to serve both administrations promoting the goodness of America at that time. And so my experience, so if I could just speak very openly, I started a business 1 year after the Million Man March, October 16th, 1996. I had 2 jobs since college. And with that, I decided to start my own business just months before October because I was trying to get jobs in public relations because I helped start a Fox affiliate in Connecticut. I was the first paid intern, and then I went into producing news segments and being an assignment editor. And so when I just wasn't, quote, qualified enough, I didn't like what was being said. So I said, I'm just going to do my own thing. So to use a term, I just decided not to be in a plantation mode in terms of business. And so all I've known mostly in my career, in my own business. Has it been easy? There's been ups and downs in business. You have strong years, weak years, but there's an independence and freedom you have in a bravery that you have having your own business.
Yvonne?
So when I go ahead, sir.
I've got just a second here. We've got to come forward, which is our break
Yes.
here at KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Our very special guest in this hour is none other than Yvonne Renee Davis, a seasoned business professional, public servant. We're going to be discussing Black women here on this program, and I'm grateful that one of the most qualified ever is joining us. More when we come back on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's celebrate.
Y'all did it.
Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles, KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God.
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, the Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Yeah, man.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Stand up!
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, Black voices, Black power.
The heat is on
the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected, stay informed, stay loud.
Stand up!
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. If you're listening to us on the 405, the 101, the 5, the 10, the 118, or the 110 in California, you're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. And our very special guest in this hour is Renee Davis, an esteemed, qualified professional African-American woman who graduated with a master's degree in leadership and business ethics from Duquesne University and a master's degree in political science from the University of Connecticut. She studied the mastery of leadership and change in Belgium, while her predoctoral scholar in and at the University of Connecticut. She possesses coaching and executive leadership certifications from Cornell's Johnson School of Management and Duquesne University, as well as executive leadership certifications from Harvard John F. Kennedy School of Government. And yet, with all of those qualifications, Ms. Davis, women like yourself are under attack.
Yes,
From the White House press corps to Ketanji Brown Jackson, to the first American woman president of Harvard University. How do you make it? How do you persist? How do you push forward?
So 61% of adult Black women participate in the labor force. We are the majority in the labor force. Over white women, over Hispanic women. We are the majority. And so we know that how many of us have been raised. My father said, if you want to get out of poverty, because he took us out of the city of Cleveland, Ohio when I was 7 years old, education has to be the way. So many of us got the education, got more education on top of the education and more education on top of the education, which makes us statistically the most educated. But we're also the ones right now experiencing the most unemployment, the most layoffs, the disintegration of the Black middle class when it comes to working for federal jobs. That was sort of like generational middle class construction happening with Black African Americans working in Washington or federal jobs. Black women had that as the opportunity to be able to climb. And so what we have now with the ending of these federal mandates related to DEI, but also to just the political backlash and pushback, Black women are experiencing I would say the coronavirus when it comes to the economy, economic precarity for African American women. Because you're looking at about 21.7 million Black women in the United States, and we make up 52% of our population. And so right now we're experiencing something almost 6.5 to 7% of unemployment. And so, and these numbers are expected as we go into a recession or a tightening of the economy. The war plays a big role of it overseas, and the impact. We're seeing more of this happening, and the numbers. I saw some of the numbers said it was down to 6.1%. That 6.1% means what? Women who have given up and they're not applying for work anymore. Women might be deciding to start a business, but without having access to capital or maybe not having the tools, it makes it very difficult. So it has been a mental mountain that's had to be climbed amongst Black women who are in professions to this day, the public sector as well as the private sector.
Ms. Davis, I wanted to pivot to that point because within the last week, I think we were all outraged. I know we were right here at KBLA when Pete Hegseth decided that he wasn't going to promote Black women in the military and that he had removed them from a particular list along with other African Americans and other people of color who deserved and earned promotions by definition, not only with faithful service, but by putting their lives on the line in service of the nation. They earned these promotions, but he summarily dismissed them. That's the face of it. But behind that is $1 trillion or more military budget where the same activity is taking place and companies like yours are being ignored for contracts, opportunities, and that's not just happening in the public sector, it's also happening in the private sector because at every turn, there is some lawsuit, some reverse use of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission to now look at laws that historically provided opportunities and knocked down doors for companies like your own to participate. You're being told that you are some kind of recipient of some kind of privilege against the backdrop of what we know to have been a very discriminatory history, and not many women have ever done what you've done across multiple administrations, both Democratic and Republican.
I think we have to look at our history because remember when Bill Clinton was in office, he said with affirmative action, he said mend it, don't end it. But nothing was ever mended. The truth be told, nothing was ever mended. When President George W. Bush was in office, he said affirmative access. Yeah, I was a part of the team that looked at unbundling contracts and just to provide more opportunities for small women and minority-owned businesses. But those were just more of the words. No one looked to really deal with the systemic problems. And when you're not dealing with systemic problems, it built up. And then you just start seeing a movement of the rightening and the whitening of Supreme Court decisions. Yeah, you could say it started with Justice Roberts, and then it moved with Justice Alito, et cetera, to where we are today. But when we had the opportunity to look at the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, not make it an act, but make it a law. Because all we do is act today. That's fake. And so that's why it's under attack now. So you have to look at everything from a 360 perspective, but you also have to look at historically the mistakes we've made. I know when you were in office, that's what you were fighting for. And there was something there that just where leadership in a key critical position was not taking the necessary steps to make these things permanent. And so when you have a situation right now, what we have now, it's a free-for-all of rejection. It's a free-for-all to roll back, to ignore. And so that's what we're facing with. So the question becomes, what is it that we need to do as a people? Because we have often identified ourselves through our jobs. Nothing wrong with that. But what we're facing right now is there's a serious identity crisis that's happening in the community. Because if you don't have a job, then who are you and what are you? And what can be done?
Ms. Davis, let me say this, because I believe that right here at KBLA, one of the arguments we've been making the case about the midterms and why one of our regular contributors, why midterms effing matter. And Barbara Arnwine, who will be with us in the second hour of the show today on Tenacious Tuesday, is the head of the Transformative Justice Coalition. She's been leading No Kings marches across the country. She has been to Alabama. She has been, on the forefront of, these challenges to majority minority congressional districts, in large measure because if we vote in 2026 and we build Jesse Jackson, if you will, his rainbow coalition of interests that in this particular climate have experienced tremendous amounts of pain. Black women, if we focus our agenda, and women of color will be on the front lash of that which right now they are a backlash to. That is, you stand in line to be the beneficiary, along with other qualified Black women, to actually correct the wrong of what has been done by the past administration. Hell, the past from 1619 to the present. The things that Black women in Congress are asking for speak to the generations of tables, of conversations around our tables to make a difference. And I'm wondering, when we look at, these state by state elections, we look at what's going on in the political space, the next Congress of the United States is going to have to hold the private sector accountable too, because many of these supporters have also backslid in light of Donald Trump's threats. And I hate to use the president's name because that's not the point of our show. The point is there is a movement here to disenfranchise Black women.
It's a fear. The corporations are afraid. I mean, I'm very aware, without mentioning organizations' names, where they no longer could be affiliated with words that use race or discrimination. They've walked back. They'd rather just focus on a program that's just a blank face that's not even a woman or whatever if her race is. And so there's ways corporations are walking around it, but there are some that just on the face just say, no, we're not doing this anymore. And they've turned a blind eye. But here's the thing. Everybody's looking towards the midterm as there being a change. We don't know unless people really become active and vote. For example, the redistricting is going to have a major impact. And so the work is more than anybody could ever imagine. And so the question becomes, Black women have always been I'm going to interrupt my own thought, the front line of the civil rights movement. Black women actually threaten Black men to say, okay, we're not going to cook for you, or we're not going to have sex with you if you don't get your behind out there and keep marching. And so we did that. We led the civil rights movement, but we recognized that in a patriarchal society, Dr. King had to be the trombone. He had to do the cry, because that was just the way it was. And people like Aretha Franklin, Mahalia Jackson, and some of those leaders that were women helped fund those movements were there. That famous story when Martin Luther King did Have a Dream Streak, and Mahalia Jackson said, Martin, tell him about your dream. And he just, he was riffing after that. He was doing his thing. He was freestyling. Well, it was spiritual because the Holy Spirit, I feel, entered into him and told that story. But the whole point of the matter is Black women, leading 70 to 80% of households today are carrying the debt of the nation on their shoulders and the world. And so the question becomes, amongst women, amongst Black men, we need to stand up together first. We need to take ownership first in this community. And oftentimes we look the other way. And even Black women who are in the corporate arena, they're the ones that are there. Their responsibilities to look out and run interference when you can, as opposed to canceling out. That the job is heavier. The job is different now. And so it's, we talk, and oftentimes you go into, I'm here in Hartford, Connecticut, and we talk about Black Wall Street or all these things, but do people really understand what that means to have a Black Wall Street and the potential sacrifice that it takes and the work that it takes to raise up as a people again? Because you might have to go back to a time where you have to revisit how you buy from each other, experience wealth from each other, really learn that for the first time. You remember Maggie Anderson had Our Black Year on how to buy Black. She did this whole campaign tour. We had her here in Hartford, Connecticut. And as I sit here in the Swift Factory building in Hartford, Connecticut, that's what we talked about. But people have to understand the work is heavier, and can you access yourself into that space? It is not easy.
Let me share with you this. We had a very special guest on our program yesterday, a brother by the name of Wayne Swanson, who talked about this very subject, and that is direct from farming to produce to delivering it to the table in the Black community and developing our own networks. I really think you're on to something right there. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest is Yvonne Renee Davis, serious entrepreneur on KBLA Talk 1580. More ideas, more thoughts, and more answers when we come forward right here on KBLA.
It's Afternoon Drive Time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump is responding after receiving a mixed reaction from fans at the NBA Finals Monday night.
I think mostly cheers.
Trump attended the game at Madison Square Garden, where the Spurs beat the Knicks 115-111. Security was heightened around the arena, and outside watch parties were not allowed. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass will not testify in the Palisades fire arson trial. The trial for Uber driver Jonathan Rinderknecht began Monday with jury selection. He's accused of intentionally starting the Lockman fire, which became the deadly Palisades fire 6 days later. And Tiana Taylor will receive the Icon of the Year award at the 2026 BET Awards. The honor recognizes her cultural impact across music, film, and entertainment. Taylor recently won a Golden Globe for One Battle After Another and earned a Grammy nomination for Escape Room. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Still hiding your legs because of spider or varicose veins? West Medical offers minimally invasive vein treatments that require little downtime. Most PPO insurance plans cover treatment, and they verify your benefits free. Call 1-800-WEST-MED today for your free consultation.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Major props to the San Antonio Spurs for rising up against all the noise in New York City about the Knicks. The Spurs tuned out the electric atmosphere Monday night in Madison Square Garden and pulled off a stunning 115-111 win over the Knicks in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. First loss for the Knicks in this year's playoffs since April 23rd. The Knicks had won 13 straight playoff games. With a 2-0 lead in the best of 7 and with Game 3 at home, Knicks fans were expecting a 14th straight playoff win. Spurs star Victor Wembanyama dismissed the hype and delivered a 5-star performance in the first NBA Finals game in New York since 1999. The 22-year-old Wembanyama hurt the Knicks with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Wembanyama helped the Spurs avoid going down 0-3 to the Knicks. There will be a Game 5 in San Antonio on Saturday. Game 4 is Wednesday night in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We don't do ordinary. This is KBLA Talk 1580. In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. It's high time that we say the quiet part out loud about what we consider a disgrace, an absolute disgrace to the people of South Los Angeles. Destination Crenshaw, or as I call it, Procrastination Crenshaw, was supposed to be a 1.3-mile celebration of Black Los Angeles. Pocket parks, commissioned art, a cultural corridor along Crenshaw Boulevard, stretching from our studios in Leimert Park down to Nipsey Hussle Square. It was set to complete in 2022. That's right, 2022. We are now in 2026, and the Crenshaw community is still waiting. A grand opening was announced for February 2024. That date passed with not a single artwork installed. Then we were promised that construction would be completed by the end of 2024. That date came and went. Our understanding is that as of last fall, the 8th Council District Office was still scrambling to raise additional monies just to restart the project, which has been paused again and again. But here's what makes my blood boil. City officials have the nerve to tell this community the delays are, quote, unnecessary inconvenience, close quote. Unnecessary inconvenience? First of all, who are you talking to? Second, go tell that to the Black business owners who have been coping with construction chaos, breathing dust, enduring years of road closures and the scarcity of available parking, confronting unsanitary conditions, losing customers and revenue, all while the project they were promised still sits unfinished. They wouldn't let a project sit this long in any other part of this city. And for what it's worth, our elected official just happens to be the president of the LA City Council. Meanwhile, the city is laser focused on sprucing things up for the World Cup and the Olympics. Please, if this corridor were in Brentwood or Beverly Hills, it would have been completed on time, on budget, and on the cover of every magazine in town. The Crenshaw community deserves better. They deserve the truth, and they deserve what was promised to them. Now, right now, not when it's convenient, not when the cameras are rolling for the Olympics. Now, this isn't incompetence. This is a pattern. And at some point, neglect becomes a decision. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest in this hour is Yvonne Renee Davis, a very serious professional who served in both George W. Bush's administrations as well as the administration of former President Barack Obama. I'm particularly grateful that she is our guest on our program. Her breadth of knowledge and experience far exceeds our capacity on our show to discuss in a single hour. So let me start by saying that she already knows she's more than welcome to become a repeat visitor on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
My honor.
I was going to say, I hope you don't mind being guilty of that when we have you as a repeat offender. I do want to pivot, however, to your international work, and that includes your understanding of Belgium, the 6 or more African countries that you've traveled to as a result
14.
of the 14 as a result of the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act and your work in the State Department. What are they saying about us abroad, and how are they receiving African Americans in light of the oppression that we are experiencing in this hour? Ms. Davis.
I believe it depends on, when I speak of the continent of Africa, it depends on what country. Ghana was with Kwame Nkrumah, and, with Jerry Rawlings, with opening up Africa for the African American, the diaspora to come home, has always been a welcoming place. So a lot of Western countries have said, no, come home. And I remember when I came home, it just transformed me completely about who I am in terms of my lineage. There is an opportunity for African Americans to explore not just the sub-Saharan, but also North Africa. And however, the viewpoint of the world is that people are not impressed in terms of where this country has swung in terms of soft diplomacy, public diplomacy, this, in terms of how America led, in terms of having a moral compass from the sense of doing what was right. And so now we have a situation where there's so much alienation going on. There would be a lot of work that has to take place to build those relationships. I mean, when we look at Africa today, compared to when I started traveling to Africa in 2001, it's worlds apart in terms of looking at the Millennium Development Goals, looking at business opportunities for Africa to open up. There are pockets. I mean, Nigeria still is the wealthiest in Africa, but then you have situations where you still, there are still schisms within the continent. But I love the sentiment that the diaspora says to come home. Get to know who you are, come back home and explore yourselves. But we as a people, more of us are doing that. Some people are actually looking to have get visas or citizenships to be engaged in the continent. And so there is great opportunity to be welcomed there. As a matter of fact, I will be heading back to Ghana later this year, and I'll be receiving my African name from my dear sister, who's the princess of the Ashanti Kingdom. And I was born on a Sunday, so my name is Dupie. That's one of the names. And so for me, that's just a transformative experience to be able to just connect with who we are and to build. Now, Africans and African Americans do need to work on coming together too, because when you're influenced by the colonial mindset and the destruction of the diaspora in terms of who's better than who, that's a problem. And that extends to the Caribbean as well. So we have to look at the entire Black diaspora, African diaspora, and look at what are ways that we can come together, and as opposed to splitting apart. The African American has still led the success in the diaspora in North America. And so now when we look at those who have accomplished, who are more educated, who have achieved wealth, it is now time to reach across the water to join hands to see how we can continue to build wealth and independence. Because frankly, some people might have to just go home because opportunity may not be there.
Ms. Davis, in light of that very broad perspective and that broadened perspective, which really challenges us all, we also have something to say about the Gaza Strip and the war between the United States and Iran, and the cost of living associated with many of the issues that are affecting our community, even more profoundly than they are the rest of the country, on questions of affordability. And therefore, the ways in which the Strait of Hormuz are opened immediately with human rights as a standard, not only for the American people, but for the Israelis as well as the Iranian people and the Palestinians, in a real sense as African Americans, and obviously led by African American women. This call to a human rights standards really does permeate our foreign and domestic policy.
You know, I'm glad that you actually spoke about that, because it's a very sensitive issue to me. I was the first American to speak to the children of Gaza through digital video conferencing in 2013 under President Obama's administration. And so I remember the question that was asked to me at that time was, you know, they called me Doctora, because that's what they say in Al Arabiya. Doctora, you tell us about dreams, but we can't leave. And that's when I cried, because it's like, you can't leave. So the only freedom they had was watching me on a digital video conference. And so we can fast forward to today and we can see the tragedy that's taken place in this world. And for African Americans, we have to connect the global to the local. We can no longer continue to, that's not my backyard, that NIMBYism, and thinking that's not me. I'm just gonna do what I can. No, that's why the food, you can't get the food. You know, you spend $30, what do you get? No, you get nothing. You might get some neck bones. So the whole point of the matter, you know what I'm saying? So the whole point of the matter is,
those are cheap neck bones.
Yeah, but I'm saying you can't. No. So it's not that, well, they're not black. No. When I was working in Philistine, that's what they called it. They actually said to me, we are considered black people, because they were identifying with the struggle of African Americans here in North America. And they are. That's just the truth. And so we have to address human rights and dignity in a very profound way. And as I'm talking to you, say Congressman, because I'm going to give you that honor. As I talk to you in that tone, we have to stand for that humanity. And I'm saying it as a Republican. We have to stand. And if we don't do it, then we just roll back and our souls get pulled back. And my relationships, I have relationships. I can go almost anywhere in the world and I have a place to sleep. I'm welcome. Whether it's Azerbaijan, whether it's Albania, can't go to Russia now, but Russia, China. I've been to 68 countries and counting. And so, and in the Arab world, I've been all over. And I'm saying to you as a people, it's more than a cruise on the Caribbean. It's about how can we build pockets of wealth in these other arenas. And so right now it's impacting us. I mean, I don't know, what was your last grocery bill? Do you remember?
You know, I've been doing DoorDash lately, but no, it is expensive. I mean, and you don't get very much for it. About $282, in fact. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Yvonne, when we come forward, more with Yvonne Renee Davis on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I want to hear from her on the 250th anniversary. What to the July 4th does it mean to African-American women? More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
LADWP customers get rebates up to $1,500 when you install a qualified electric vehicle charger at your home. It's like having a gas station in your garage. Get extra savings when you combine LADWP rebates with federal tax credits on chargers installed before June 30th. Visit ladwp.com/EV today and start saving. That's ladwp.com/EV. Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Hi, I'm Chris Holden, former California Assembly member, former Mayor of Pasadena, and CEO of LA Fire Justice. I've spent my career fighting for our communities. When I saw Edison celebrating $4.5 billion in profits while Eaton fire survivors struggle to make ends meet, it made me simultaneously sick and furious. Families and individuals are dealing with financial pressure, insurance delays, costly remediation, and the painful question of how to rebuild their lives, while the utility that caused the fire is paying its executives millions and is more profitable than ever. That's not justice. That's a disgrace. Join the lawsuit with LA Fire Justice to hold Edison accountable. We're here to help you, your family, and our community recover. Visit lafirejustice.com today to learn more about your eligibility and how to start.
Advertisement. Douglas Boxer, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy. Wow, Charles Barkley? I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for. Open 7 days a week.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure. Take it for a spin.
There's no fees and minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bank guide for details. Capital One and a member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. The midterm election campaign season is here now. The 2028 presidential election is right around the corner. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. It's all in for 2026 and 2028. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Tenacious Tuesday, and our tenacious guest today is Yvonne Renee Davis, a seasoned entrepreneur, accomplished executive, currently serving as the founder and CEO of Davis Intelligence, a global consultancy firm with an extensive background in international affairs. She brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to her role, and she keeps it real as it relates to African Americans and our people who are struggling against enormous odds. Yvonne, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you.
Yvonne, let me raise this question because this is the final segment, and I'm going to make this a little bit more philosophical, given the breadth of your knowledge, your history, your experience, and your understanding. From 1619 in Jamestown, Virginia, to July 4th, 1776, there were 157 July 4ths. From the perspective of the slave, July 4th was just another day. The next 88 July 4ths, from July 4th, 1776, writing of the Constitution, September 17th, 1787, adoption of the Bill of Rights, 1791, the Gettysburg Campaign, Gettysburg Address, 1863. There would be 88 more July 4th. Just another day. But really, from the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, every July 4th from that campaign forward has been different. There was many July 4ths where women could not vote, and now they can. There were many July 4ths where women had no role in the society, and now they do. There were many July 4ths where women could not aspire to be presidents of universities, run their own businesses, work for U.S. presidents, travel the country, travel the world, and make a difference. And today, in this moment, they can. No July 4th is the same. And I'm not particularly interested in going back to July 4th, 1776, and trying to imagine a July 4th where my ancestors had nothing to do but be slaves. It's the July 4ths after our becoming, if you will. It's what we've become. It's all that you have inherited over your life to be the person that you are, the character, the moral figure that you are. Share with us what to Black women, to Black people, to those who've been locked out and dispossessed for most of the nation's history. What is the meaning of July 4th?
People don't think about what the meaning is as a people because we don't acknowledge, we don't viscerally acknowledge that for every 250 years, we have actually built the nation. It's been on our backs. And so with that being said, we do the cookout, but we should do the cook in. We should do the cook in. And, you know, there's a gentleman on the social media that says, let me cook for a second. So the type of cooking that has to take place at this point is acknowledging that when we hit 250 years, there's a lack of appreciation and acknowledgement of the authentic contributions that have been made so that America could be great. And that's just the reality. That is the reality. When we look at from 1619 to the present, to the things that have been stolen from us, to what Benjamin Banneker did in Washington, D.C., and yet Washington, D.C. today has the second highest unemployment rate for Black women. Detroit is the highest. And so we need to do a reckoning of our history and our contributions in that way. So if people don't celebrate July 4th, I understand and respect why they don't. But celebrate the fact that we are still the builders of the society. We are still the culture of the society. We are the culture in the world. I mean, if you've done some if you've read about Black women's DNA, civilization is born out of our DNA. We don't even recognize that. And so for me, July 4th, yes, families get together, but we need to acknowledge that we built this nation. Don't disassociate ourselves. We own that. We need to take ownership of that and define it for ourselves. And too often we let other people define who we are and give us identity. We know who we have to get to that space. And that's what I would say. Because I don't want to ever leave a segment on the negative. We have to come with the positive, that it is a struggle. It's true. But the work still has to be done. I mean, at 60 years old, I said to myself, you know what, Yvonne, you got to get in the best shape of your life. So Yvonne's heavy lifting. She's doing things to make her body strong because she realizes the mental, the spiritual, the emotional fight can't just stop. We have young people that have to be influenced and still trained because they don't, Congressman, they don't know what the struggle is. They have no idea.
That's really interesting. As many shows as I've done, and this is the 5th anniversary of KBLA, as well as our second anniversary on the radio. You just said that we have to train for the fight that we are entering into.
It's a war.
It's not something that's cast upon us. We have to train for it.
Yes.
And that is as rich a word of hope. What we eat, what we think, what we drink, people we interact with, the clarity of mind, the clarity of consciousness, the decisions that we make, the judgments that we make. Yvonne, I can't thank you enough for being our very special guest today.
No, it's my honor, and I want to give homage to your father. I had an opportunity to interview him at Fox 61 years ago when he was alive, and then I saw him at the Congressional Black Caucus. I got to interact with him, even at the White House. So my honor back to you.
Yvonne, thank you so much. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Our very special guest has been Yvonne Renee Davis, an entrepreneur, a great mind. She will be back on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and I can't wait. More on KBLA Talk 1580 with Barbara Arnwine on Tenacious Tuesday when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump is responding after receiving a mixed reaction from fans at the NBA Finals Monday night.
I think mostly cheers.
Trump attended the game at Madison Square Garden where the Spurs beat the Knicks 115 to 111. Security was heightened around the arena and outside watch parties were not allowed. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass will not testify in the Palisades fire arson trial. The trial for Uber driver Jonathan Rendernecht began Monday with jury selection. He's accused of intentionally starting the Lockman fire, which became the deadly Palisades fire 6 days later. And Tiana Taylor will receive the Icon of the Year award at the 2026 BET Awards. The honor recognizes her cultural impact across music, film, and entertainment. Taylor recently won a Golden Globe for One Battle After Another and earned a Grammy nomination for Escape Room. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Still hiding your legs because of spider or varicose veins? West Medical offers minimally invasive vein treatments that require little downtime. Most PPO insurance plans cover treatment and they verify your benefits free. Call 1-800-WEST-MED today for your free consultation.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Major props to the San Antonio Spurs for rising up against all the noise in New York City about the Knicks. The Spurs tuned out the electric atmosphere Monday night in Madison Square Garden and pulled off a stunning 115-111 win over the Knicks in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. First loss for the Knicks in this year's playoffs since April 23rd. The Knicks had won 13 straight playoff games. With a 2-0 lead in the best of 7 and with Game 3 at home, Knicks fans were expecting a 14th straight playoff win. Spurs star Victor Wembanyama dismissed the hype and delivered a 5-star performance in the first NBA Finals game in New York since 1999. The 22-year-old Wembanyama hurt the Knicks with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Wembanyama helped the Spurs avoid going down 0-3 to the Knicks. There will be a Game 5 in San Antonio on Saturday. Game 4 is Wednesday night in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr. $2.5 billion. Governor Gavin Newsom said it was there for fire survivors in Altadena and the Palisades. No strings attached. That was the promise. But the burning question is, where's it at? 18 months later, an NBC4 investigation came back with the numbers. The numbers don't answer the question, they deepen it. Where's it at? About $605 million has been spent, roughly 75% still not released. Where's it at? Roughly $14 million went to CHP overtime and ICE immigration protest response for crowd control. Not rebuilding homes, not rebuilding lives, but crowd control. Where's it at? Another $13 million went to the state health department for video campaigns while fire survivors waited. While families in Altadena are still trying to put their lives back together, still trying to get housed, this is the hope gap and it's real. Where's it at? Southern California Edison is still in court, still fighting liability tied to the Eden fire, still not accountable. Where's it at? 18 months later, Governor Newsom, where's it at? Because the truth is free, but the lie can be very expensive. And right now, fire survivors want to know what happened to no strings attached. And I've been saying on this mic for the past 18 months, somebody or somebodies didn't do their job. Now it's documented. Governor Newsom, listen closely. You didn't do your job. You didn't keep your promise. You held up the bill. Now stop holding up the money. You said no strings attached. Instead, you played on the people's heartstrings. Where's it at? See, Governor Newsom, even at the French Laundry, if it don't come out in the wash, it's sure enough gonna come out in the rinse, and the rinse cycle is here. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Tenacious Tuesday, and we are on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. I am live in Richmond, Virginia today, all week long, and then heading back to the city of Chicago for the funeral of the late Spencer Leak Jr., and then off to Los Angeles for the 5th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580. I hope every one of you will participate in the KBLA Talk 1580 festivities at the end of, I believe, next week. At the end of next week. Very much looking forward to the trip to LA and spending that time with everyone. And, of course, commemorating the life, none other, of Spencer Leak Jr. this coming weekend. For now, we are in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm thinking at this moment about Barbara Arnwine, President and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, internationally renowned for contributions on critical issues, including the passage of the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1991 and the reauthorization in 2006 of the Voting Rights Act. She also serves as co-chair and facilitator of the National Commission for Voter Justice, the Millennial Votes Matters convenings, and the Voting Rights Alliance. Barbara, welcome forward to Tenacious Tuesday and On the Grind with Barbara Arnwine. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
Barbara, we are here for your leadership and we are here for your direction. Barbara, first and foremost, what should we turn collectively our attention to in this hour?
I want to make sure that everyone is focused on next week. And when my voice is better, I'll talk more about it. But next week, everybody, is Juneteenth. But it can't be what it was last year or the year before. It's got to be something very different in these times.
I'm going to give Barbara a chance to have a glass of water, and I'm going to get us through this break while she works on that. That's really interesting because one of the things that I've been saying, and I'll use this moment to the break to give Barbara this moment, I have suggested, and we talked about it in the last hour, that from 1619 to July 4th, 1776, from the perspective of the African slave, July 4th was just another date. July 4th, 1776, Americans, as our previous guest just said, will be celebrating with barbecue and with beer and fireworks, celebrating a longing for a return on July 4th, 1776, honoring founding fathers and architects of our republic. While women could not vote, Africans found themselves in the peculiar institution of slavery. And then, of course, the Constitution that we celebrate, September 17th, 1787, and the Bill of Rights, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to counsel, due process, the Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the United States. We celebrate that, but the reality is there were 88 more July 4ths after July 4th, 1776, where a significant amount of the population was still in slavery. So July 4th was just another day. And now this July 4th, which I actually spoke about during the Kamala Harris campaign in Gettysburg, would be unlike any other July 4th in American history. I should actually play that speech forward for KBLA one day. Just a year ago, I said, what kind of July 4th do we want to have? One where Kamala Harris is expanding more rights for women, for the LGBTQ, for African Americans, others, or do we want a July 4th that resembles and looks more akin to July 4th, 1776? Well, the voters, those who participated, and more specifically, those who did not participate, are largely responsible for a new interpretation of July 4th as a result of their decision in 2024. 25. And the consequences of that are nothing short of extraordinary. So when Barbara Arnwine raises the question that this Juneteenth will be unlike any other Juneteenth, she isn't just referring to the idea that the Texans did not share the Emancipation Proclamation with the slaves for a couple of years after the Emancipation Proclamation, and in some cases, even after the 13th Amendment. She's saying that every Juneteenth takes on a different meaning. And when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580, there is no one and no person in this country, or maybe the world, more capable of explaining to us what she means by the original holiday and what it means today. And therefore, from what it means today, we are compelled to an action plan. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Y'all did it!
Hey, Los Angeles, KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, the Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA! Yeah, man!
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. KBLA
Talk 1580. Download the app. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. Barbara, welcome forward to the show.
It's good to be here.
Barbara, you sound much better. Barbara, what makes this Juneteenth unlike any other Juneteenth that we've ever commemorated or celebrated? Barbara?
Well, why don't we start off with the math? I want to start, somebody did this recently, and I was listening to some other speaker who did the math, and they said, think about it. Reconstruction lasted, if you give it a generous count, about 15 years. A generous count, probably 12 is the right number. Then you add on to that 61 years in which we had the Voting Rights Act basically in effect. You end up with about 75 years, 76, depending on your count.
Oh, I see where you're going, Barbara.
You got it.
Barbara.
You got it, where we have actually recognized and respected it, and or even tried to achieve, as the United States, a multiracial democracy.
Wow.
I mean, just 76 if you're generous. Of the 250 years people are celebrating this July 4th. It's an indictment of a failure to abide by the highest principles of your times. And I've been watching, I don't know how many other people have been watching the PBS, The American Revolution. And Ken Burns and a number of the associates, they've done a decent job of putting forth the slavery aspects, the contradictions in that period, and how many people were calling them out. Not just Black folks, because we certainly was calling it out, especially free Black folks. But there were so many white people who were calling out the contradictions. Plus, the one thing that they've really done well is called out the anti-Native American hate. I mean, just the anti-Native American parts of not only the Declaration itself, but of Thomas Jefferson. They've been quoting him all over the place. And I had it was, to me, even as good a historian as I am. And, I mainly have thought about, the Jacksonian period for, the forced removal, the Trail of Tears. But but actually Jefferson started a lot of this stuff way before Thomas Jefferson, before he was president, while he was a member of the Continental Congress, and later on in his presidency, really major hate around Native Americans.
For all of Jefferson's genius on the literature and the poetic nature of equality, Jefferson was a pompous jerk.
And racist to the core.
He looked down on people. Looked
racist
down on
to the core.
Negroes, sure, but he looked down on everybody. He was
right.
He was
while he's laying every night he can with Sally Hemings. Come on, that's the fundamental contradiction in our country that no one wants to talk about. And in fact, this administration that's trying to put forth this 250th celebration is trying to squash and to destroy any knowledge of that history. But that's the history I want everyone to think about. So when you talk about Juneteenth, getting back down, that's what we say as lawyers, right? Connect it up. When you get back to your question about Juneteenth, the true line from Juneteenth to today is that people did not want us to have knowledge, to know, to be aware, because they didn't want us to know that the physical slavery had ended. But what they sought to do after physical slavery, when you and let me just carve out the whole incarceration narrative, but they have now tried to impose what? Mental slavery. They've made sure that all these states, 20-something states, that have some kind of law on book banning of African American books, banning the teaching of African American history. All of that is part of that imposition of the mental chains, so that you don't know who you are, from which you come. You can't do that math. You can't be mathing and looking at 250 and getting the real picture in your head. It's meant to keep us ignorant and enslaved.
Barbara, let
It's
me ask this question.
critical for us to look
Let
at
me ask you a
Juneteenth in a different way.
Just as July 4th will never be the same after Frederick Douglass's interpretation.
All right now,
of
come
July
on
4th.
now.
And I remember, however, that July 4th, 2009 was different.
Yes.
Obama was president. We were towards something. That was true July 4th, 2010, July 4th, 2011, 2012, all the way to July 4th, 2016. Those 8 July 4ths, if we're honest, were different. Now, look at this, Barbara, for just a moment. I remember having a conversation with Sheila Jackson Lee about the Juneteenth holiday. After all, It was Al Green, who was a state legislator in Texas, who made Juneteenth a state holiday for Texans. And with love, that's what Michael Jackson used to say, with love, I would say, Barbara, are you sure this should be a national holiday? Because after all, we were duped. In Texas, the white folks refused to tell us that we were free. Now, why would we take a Texas holiday and make it a national holiday? Because that's not true of the states where Lincoln freed them with the Emancipation. It is true of the states where he kept it in place, but it's certainly not true after the 13th Amendment. Anyway, that's a philosophical conversation.
Well,
but on this Juneteenth, something special is happening, Barbara.
Yes.
And maybe for the next 200 years, we will reflect, and the future will reflect, not on the Juneteenth of 1865, but the Juneteenth of, and not the discussion between Jesse Jackson Jr. and Barbara Lee on the nationalization of the holiday, but the founding and the inauguration, and it being an anniversary event for the Barack Obama Presidential Library, which stands as a testament to our movement of freedom. 200 years from now, might it be impossible for African Americans to see Juneteenth in the very way that you're asking and suggesting that it should be going forward, Barbara?
Well, people in this year, as they have destroyed Black political power in Tennessee with the destruction of the 9th Congressional District, as they destroyed Black political power in Louisiana, as they are on the verge of, implementing the destruction of Black political power in Alabama, as Georgia next week. Are you guys aware, everyone listening, that Georgia will hold a state legislative session next week on the 16th, but they're scheduled to vote on the 17th of June to destroy Black political power, to get rid of Black districts, not only at the congressional level, but at the state level. And there will be, a major protest of that next week. So this Juneteenth, during this, quote, federal holiday that your president has said that he doesn't like and doesn't think should exist, but on this Juneteenth, it has to be different. We can celebrate our history. We can celebrate our accomplishments, but we got to put on our political frame. And we got to be very clear that our duty in these times that our ancestors would demand of us is to decide and to fight for it for our power and to decide how we empower ourselves the best in light of all the challenges that are out there. Do we let a Wasserman Schultz waltz into a black what has been a black majority district and
I hope not.
Hey,
I sure
compete?
hope not.
Is that what we do? I mean, the question for us right now is what we do. So I'm very happy that the NAACP and my brother, Attorney Gerald Griggs, has called for a national assembly in Georgia to fight, to make sure that we educate our people about what they're trying to do in Georgia. I'm so glad that there will be a national march in Harlem, in New York, where there will be the When We Fight, We Win march on the 20th of June. And that's being led by Reverend Stephen Green and Tamika Mallory, Mark Morial, the National Urban League, and others. And it's time, folks. We can't just do the same thing. Have your barbecues, if you will, on the 19th, but show up on the 16th and 17th. Have your celebrations, if you will, on the 19th, but show up on the 20th and show up every day thereafter. We cannot sit back and be quiet. Frederick Douglass, we know his speech because what did he do? He went and gave the speech.
Yeah.
And instead of saying, Master, I'm so glad y'all let me, a former slave, talk to you, he came out and told the truth. He was defiant. He was, he made sure that they saw, felt, tasted their own hypocrisy. Oh, and it rings true today. Today, you read that speech and you go, whoa, because it was so prescient. He saw today. And that's why it is so important for us every July 4th to lift up that Frederick Douglass speech. In fact, I've been wondering if we shouldn't even stop calling it July 4th and call it Frederick Douglass Day.
You wouldn't be wrong for that because, like he said, it is a scathing rebuke of the nation's history and its hypocrisy.
He said, what do you think I'm here to talk about?
Are y'all celebrating and feeling all good? Do you know what this means to someone laboring under dangling under a tree?
Right. He's like, what? Oh, yes. I mean, that's one of the most brilliant one. And that's the beauty of Black folks that we can say it's one of the most brilliant
let me answer this question. You know what? On Holocaust Remembrance Day, it's not a barbecue.
You got it.
Not a beer. It's
not at all.
It's not a throwdown. It's not a beach party. Holocaust Remembrance Day is serious business in the Jewish community. Very serious business. Not only amongst Jewish people.
Yes.
Not only do they take it extremely seriously, you better not have a party celebrating Holocaust Remembrance Day in a disrespectful manner for those who lost their lives in that tragic event.
Amen.
In world history.
And we got to have that.
There ought to be an outrage factor on Juneteenth. An outrage factor.
Right.
And July 4th is an outrage factor.
Yes.
How did it become a barbecue? How did it become a beer drinking? How did it become a hacky sack? How did it become a sporting event? I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, we're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. We got some more issues to sort through, but we want to commemorate July 4th by doing the work and not celebrating that which has never been true to us. More when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580 with Barbara Arnwine.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. A Texas jury has found Carmelo Anthony guilty of murder in the stabbing death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. The deadly confrontation happened in 2025 at a high school track meet in Frisco. The case drew racial tensions with demonstrators outside the courthouse supporting both Anthony, who was black, and Metcalf, who was white. Jurors in McKinney had been weighing murder, manslaughter, or acquittal. Democratic City Councilwoman Nithya Raman is advancing to the November Los Angeles mayoral election against Black incumbent Mayor Karen Bass. Raman defeated Republican reality TV star Spencer Pratt after a late surge of mail-in votes as President Trump criticized how California runs its elections. And Sir Idris Elba says audiences may not embrace a Black James Bond. The Black British actor was long rumored as a possible replacement after Daniel Craig left the franchise, but Elba says those talks were never real. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Still hiding your legs because of spider or varicose veins? West Medical offers minimally invasive vein treatments that require little downtime. Most PPO insurance plans cover treatment and they verify your benefits free. Call 1-800-WEST-MED today for your free consultation.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Serena Williams' comeback is off to a positive start. The 44-year-old Compton native won her doubles match Tuesday afternoon in the opening round of the HSBC Championships in London. Serena and Victoria Mboko defeated Nicole Melichar-Martinez and Erin Routliffe 7-6 and 6-2. This was Serena's first competition since she retired in July 2022 after competing in the U.S. Open. Serena says she has no plans to play in the HSBC singles competition. Omar Atan of Somalia, one of the top soccer referees in the world, was denied entry into the U.S. Tuesday. Atan was scheduled to work first-round matches in the World Cup this weekend at SoFi Stadium. Customs agents stopped Atan at Miami International Airport after his flight from Istanbul. He was prohibited from making his connecting flight to L.A. because of what they called vetting concerns. Somalia is on the list of countries where citizens are not allowed to travel to the U.S. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This isn't a talk show.
It's a town hall with no walls.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. It's high time that we say the quiet part out loud about what we consider a disgrace, an absolute disgrace to the people of South Los Angeles. Destination Crenshaw, or as I call it, Procrastination Crenshaw, was supposed to be a 1.3-mile celebration of Black Los Angeles. Pocket Park, a cultural corridor along Crenshaw Boulevard, stretching from our studios in Leimert Park down to Nipsey Hussle Square. It was set to complete in 2022. That's right, 2022. We are now in 2026, and the Crenshaw community is still waiting. A grand opening was announced for February 2024. That date passed with not a single artwork installed. Then we were promised that construction would be completed by the end of 2024. That date came and went. Our understanding is that as of last fall, the 8th Council District Office was still scrambling to raise additional monies just to restart the project, which has been paused again and again. But here's what makes my blood boil. City officials had the nerve to tell this community the delays are, quote, a necessary inconvenience, close quote. A necessary inconvenience? First of all, who you talking to? Second, go tell that to the black business owners who have been coping with construction chaos, breathing dust, enduring years of road closures and the scarcity of available parking, confronting unsanitary conditions, losing customers and revenue, all while the project they were promised still sits unfinished. They wouldn't let a project sit this long in any other part of this city. And for what it's worth, our elected official just happens to be the president of the LA City Council. Meanwhile, the city is laser focused on sprucing things up for the World Cup and the Olympics. Please, if this corridor were in Brentwood or Beverly Hills, it would have been completed on time, on budget, and on the cover of every magazine in town. The Crenshaw community deserves better. They deserve the truth, and they deserve what was promised to them. Now, right now, not when it's convenient, not when the cameras are rolling for the Olympics. Now, this isn't incompetence. This is a pattern. And at some point, neglect becomes a decision. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We are on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. Barbara is the president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition and is internationally renowned for contribution on more issues, human rights issues, than we can fathom. Born in Southern California, Arnwine is a graduate of Scripps College and Duke University School of Law. Barbara, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Barbara,
And I'm also a George Washington high school graduate. Come on, 100 Nathan Dinker. Come on, Los Angeles. Come on.
Okay, not George Washington. I thought you were going to say George Washington Carver. But
No,
okay.
I wish it was George Washington, General Washington.
Hey, Barbara, how can we support the Transformative Justice Coalition?
You can go to
Before you do that, I'm going to mess you up twice. Barbara, finish what you were saying about George Washington.
I was going to say that the students from Fremont High would come over and war on us.
But they wouldn't be wrong.
And they love to make fun of one General George Washington. They would do it.
We need to have some of them on the
Every
show.
time we had a game with Fremont, we knew it was going to be a war.
George Washington, y'all over there fighting for George Washington.
Right,
And
they were
then
like,
there was
you
this
generals,
reckoning.
we're going to show y'all.
And then there was this reckoning for Barbara Arnwine on the day that she said, wait a minute. George Washington. He had it all
I'm
wrong.
telling you the truth. It's crazy.
Barbara, how can we support the coalition?
Yes, you can make donations to our work at tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org. We're not just talking stuff, we're true to this. You know, we believe in investing in our young people. And when I say our young people, I'm talking about the Gen Zs and the young millennials, to make sure that they are the true leaders of the present and the future. And they are amazing. I was so happy today. I actually watched a number of our alumni in action. One was cheering. Her name is Now Blass. She is one of the directors at the League of Women Voters U.S., and she was leading a whole call with all these organizations today and all these leaders planning a wonderful event in celebration of the anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. Who knows if celebration is the word? It might be commemoration. It may be many other things, but she was planning a event by which we would all come together on August 8th in Atlanta. And they're going to have these events all over the nation. So it was so good to watch her. And in the audience were other alumni that we trained over the years, also uplifting her work. So it was just beautiful. So people, never give up on our young folks. Never. Invest in them. When you invest in the Transformative Justice Coalition, you are investing in our young people so that they can be the leaders that we desperately need right now.
Barbara, I have about 3 or 4 questions that are very, very quick. And then I want you to, in the final question, to expand upon it. How many miles would you say on behalf of justice have you traveled? Let's just take a snapshot. You've been doing this for decades, but let's just say the last year alone.
Ooh, I'll tell you something that you'll find interesting. During COVID, I actually calculated, this is COVID, folks. When it was dangerous to travel, I did 102 trips.
102 trips. Is there, so now let's add to that. The snapshot that I'm looking for specifically is Trump 2.0, which includes the vigilance that you have shown at the Supreme Court, the aggressive lobbying and policy directions that you've offered on Capitol Hill, plus the street heat, which includes no King's marches, which includes the protest in Alabama, which includes the young people that you took on a bus.
Yes.
On several bus trips around the country, allowing them to tune into your own radio show as well as our radio shows live across the country. I mean, real activity. How many miles would you associate with just your work in the last year?
Woo! Woohoo! You know, I have frequent flyer programs with a number of airlines, not just one. And let's just say I have hundreds of thousands of accumulated, quote, frequent flyer miles. And so that, I think, is some indication. I mean, hundreds of thousands, almost 1 million. And I have, traveled so much. I'm on my way tomorrow to Chicago for the Rainbow Push Annual Convention, where I will be speaking at 1 o'clock on, what do you think, July 4th. So we're going to be mathing up in there and talking about, the 177 years of failure out of these 177 years of when we didn't even try, where we, as a nation, to guarantee any kind of equality for African Americans. 177 of the 250. So, folks, we're going to talk about that at the Rainbow Push Coalition Convention. Then I'm leaving there on a 9 o'clock flight, getting into, good old New Orleans at midnight to attend to keynote and chair sessions at the new National Christian Leadership Movement's at first annual conference. And so we're expecting church leaders from all over the South and all over the nation to convene there. So that's my life, folks. That's my life.
The reason I wanted to raise these questions is because when we ask for the support for the Transformative Justice Coalition, some of us are driving an Uber right now. Others of us are driving a cab. Some of us are hacking bags at the airport, Chicago O'Hare, ATL, LAX, You name it. We're doing what we're doing, from South Africa to Florida to people who are listening to our voice on The Grind with Barbara Arnwine on Tenacious Tuesday. When Barbara Arnwine gives you her website address and asks for your support, she is the wind beneath our wings on the ground, because we may not be able to physically make it, but she tells us what's going on. Barbara, once again, how can we contribute to your efforts? We want to be the wind beneath your wings.
Thank you. Thank you so much. TJCoalition.org. TJCoalition.org is our website. And there you can make a donation of whatever amount. Please, support our work, because we love what we're able to do. And we love the work we do, because it really makes a difference. We're not a fly-by-night, just talk group. We are an on-the-ground, active, change-making organization. So please, please support us. TJCoalition.org.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're on the ground with Barbara Arnwine. More when we come forward in just a moment in our final segment with Barbara Arnwine.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Philo's got that rhythm you've been looking for. A steady tempo of the biggest shows, an endless flow of hit movies, and the TV moments that match your vibe. From your favorite throwbacks to the hottest movies, the best of Black entertainment all comes together here. With all the top channels like MTV, VH1, TLC, BET, OWN, TV One, WeTV, and so much more, their lineup hits just right. Plus, over 80,000 movies and shows are available to stream anytime, anywhere. And with the unlimited DVR, you can record your favorites, rewatch them for a whole year, and skip the ads. Because the good stuff is always worth a replay. Best of all, plans start at just $25 a month. So turn up the volume on your streaming experience and come find your rhythm right here on Philo. Sign up at philo.tv today to start your 7-day free trial. That's PHILO.TV. Philo.tv.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're an African-American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, you deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Philo's got that rhythm you've been looking for. A steady tempo of the biggest shows, an endless flow of hit movies, and the TV moments that match your vibe. From your favorite throwbacks to the hottest movies, the best of black entertainment all comes together here. With all the top channels like MTV, VH1, TLC, BET, OWN, TV One, WeTV, and so much more, their lineup hits just right. Plus, over 80,000 movies and shows are available to stream anytime, anywhere. And with the unlimited DVR, you can record your favorites, rewatch them for a whole year, and skip the ads. Because the good stuff is always worth a replay. Best of all, plans start at just $25 a month. So turn up the volume on your streaming experience and come find your rhythm right here on Philo. Sign up at philo.tv today to start your 7-day free trial. That's PHILO.TV. Philo.tv.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Tenacious Tuesday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. Barbara, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
My absolute pleasure, and I'm glad we dedicated that last segment to the support of you and your organization. And
that was very kind.
Barbara, let me ask you this question. My opinion, Donald Trump is on the retreat. He's on the retreat on the ballroom. He's quickly trying to get out of a conflict he started with Iran. His name is coming off of the Kennedy Center, thanks to Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. The idea of painting the reflection pool is increasingly becoming a national outrage. And Donald Trump is falling asleep in more meetings, including but not limited to sleeping at the NBA playoff championship game last night, as well as having been booed right before he fell asleep at the NBA Challenge basketball game last night. Now, with all of that said, I gotta give a little shout out to KBLA. We're winning, everybody. We're winning right here at KBLA. We're right. They're wrong. We are winning. And from Dominique DePrima in the morning to Tavis Smiley shortly thereafter to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, all the way up to D.L. Hughley and Nee Quartelai-Quartey. If you've been listening to our shows, you know that we're on the right side of history.
That's right.
One of the persons who's out on the ground in the field doing the work is Barbara Arnwine. Barbara, Donald Trump is on the defensive.
He ought to be. Man, last week, my brother's been hospitalized and sadly he passed recently. But to go to GW Hospital, I had to drive through the George Washington University Hospital, that is. To get to the hospital, I had to drive through the mall and that whole area. So what do I see while I'm driving through it? I see everywhere all of these troops just wasting their time, standing around looking bored beyond belief, doing nothing. But what are they doing? They're sucking up our money because they're being paid to do nothing. And just even outside the hospital, just standing around, people just walking by them, smoking whatever. It was just crazy. And, I'm serious, smoking whatever.
Whatever's legal in DC.
Well, I don't know if that's legal. and ignore these people. And I had to drive by the Institute of Peace that he's put his name on, the Trump Institute of Peace, that that he kicked all the people out. That outrage, I have to see the actual impact. And one day I came out and there was the bus for the Trump Kennedy Center. And I said, what an outrage. So Joyce Beatty, thank you. Thank you for those of us whose souls rage in opposition to this man's intent to dominate. When I was on a plane and we flew over that reflection pool where they made swimming pool blue, I was like, he's got to be kidding. So he's just destroying everything he can. He really thinks he's going to be the president forever. He really does think he's a dictator. He really thinks that these little ICE, his personal army of ICE is going to save him. Folks, we are winning because we're forcing him back from his plans. And I want to give a shout out. I would be remiss if we didn't do for this whole show to not point out that the media may not have told you. It may not have been on any air show that you watch. But last week, we forced the Senate to an actual vote on the SAVE Act, and it failed. It's gone, folks. It's no more pending, no more whenever they bring it back. It's gone. It failed. And that's because of you, the 1.1 million of you who called and screamed at those senators and said, no to the SAVE Act, no to making people produce their birth certificates or their passports, no, in order for them to register, no to making people, the 62 million women have to sign an affidavit who are married and have changed their last names, or anybody else who changed their last names. They voted no. It failed because of you. So my love and joy to all of you who took the time to make that 1+ million calls. Much love.
Barbara, we have about 1 minute and 30 seconds for your word of hope.
Everyone, when we fight, we win. And your dad loved to say we never lost a battle that we fought. And it's a mistake to think that when they are temporarily making progress, temporarily, handcuffing our rights, that it's over. No, people. This battle is far from over because we, the people, have a fighting spirit and we're not going to go down. We are going to go up. We're going to force this country to remake itself and to fulfill its ideals of being a multiracial democracy that's just, inclusive, and representative. So we have work to do. Thank you, South Carolina. You showed us the way. We have work to do. Let's get it done, folks. And next week, Juneteenth, we're going to have a better Juneteenth than we've ever had. Thank you.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., Barbara, and love you very much.
You have a good time in Richmond.
And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. More on KBLA Talk 1580. We are with the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition. We are transforming justice. And now, as a result of her work, it applies to everybody. More when we come back on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. A Texas jury has found